first thing I want to talk about, if anyone here has got any capital in the markets or is looking at doing deals in the spec pharma space, everyone has noticed that pharmaceutical valuations are, very high today. I've got my cheat sheet here, and Born Partners has a spec pharma index that we track, and I think the numbers were pulled just the other day. These companies are trading at 5 times revenue and 18 times EBITDA. If you look at the same index just a year ago to the date, they were trading at 3 times revenue and 11 times EBITDA. So obviously, I don't know if there was what has created that value exactly, but want to get your perspectives. Just to give an additional reference point, big pharma, is trading at 4 times sales and 11 times EBITDA, and we took the Dow composite, and that's trading at 2 times revenue and 11 times EBITDA. So what do you think is driving these values, especially for spec pharma companies?
Obviously, low-cost debt is having an impact here, and I think that going back to the M&A theme, a lot of generalist investors have joined the party, and I think that's driven valuations up a little bit. The pricing power that these brands have is quite stunning. I don't have a statistic to hand, but I see a report from some analysts that gives out price increases by brand, on a weekly basis, and it's generally in the high single digits, which is a multiple of inflation. I'm not sure how sustainable that is. And then just to touch on one other point, tax definitely has an impact, both in terms of the expectations of M&A activity that it drives, and to Ed's point, the fact that your after-tax income is significantly higher where your burden is lower.
Yeah, and that kind of jumps into a point I was going to direct to you, Eunan. Obviously, with Azure, you guys were setting up tax-efficient entities, before it was, popular, and Azure was, really one of the first inversion transactions, sparking this wave of inversion transactions. Do you see that continuing to play a role in value and driving up values even further?
I guess the way I would answer that is that efficient taxation structures in pharmaceuticals is an age-old aspect. If you look at many of the large pharmaceutical companies, their effective tax rates are in the high teens or the low 20s, and that's because they have for many, many years looked at jurisdictions and structures which are efficient. So as much as it feels like a new phenomenon, I don't believe it is. The inversion aspect of it certainly is new, but tax efficiency is not. As to whether it's sustainable, I think that's most folks will probably agree that there's a challenge. The US is looking at a lot of taxable revenue going overseas. We've seen some moves from the Obama administration, the Treasury Department in the Green Book, trying to alter the rules and tighten the grip. And that's part of what's going on in the US. And outside of the US, other jurisdictions in Europe and elsewhere are looking at taxation of technology companies in particular, and how one can fairly tax those companies. So I think internationally there's a driver here that there's going to be some change. What that change is, I don't know. And all these tax gurus, they're like thoroughbreds, they'll love this, they'll figure out some other way, and off we'll go again. But for us, we didn't set out to be an inversion candidate. We literally set out to set up a company in a low tax jurisdiction because we happen to be from there, and that gives you a good advantage, and these inversions, I guess, have made that more of a level playing field moving forward. So yes, there'll be some more, but I think it's going to get more challenging, and substance is going to be more important over form for, I would say, 2015 or 2016 forward.